All right, good evening, everyone. You're listening to Red Pill 78. I am, as always, the corruption detector, and this is another edition of Red Pill News. Joining me once again in the studio is my good friend, the money man, Bob Kudla. What's up, Bob? How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, Red. How you doing?
I am feeling all right, you know? I mean, it's a summer day, beautiful outside, and I kind of feel like there's some stuff on the horizon. You know, General Flynn, his case was dropped today. I feel like it's just going to start being one good thing after another. Now, just for anybody in the audience who doesn't know who Bob is, please give us an introduction to yourself.
Yeah, so I'm the founder of a company called Trade Genius. TradeLikeAGenius.com, and what we do, we think we're the premier provider of stock and crypto trading systems out there in terms of being able to quickly learn and make money trading stocks, trading futures, trading cryptocurrencies. We have a system called the Ribbon System that helps you understand, but just by looking at price and price momentum, being able to find stocks that are about ready to go up, and also find stocks that are getting overvalued. And these are for the regular stocks. This isn't penny stocks. This isn't Robinhood trading. This is real stock trading, and give you tools and equipment and training so that you have a lifelong skill, and you can do what I do. Leave your corporate job at some point and be able to trade for a living, or to supplement your income, or have a backup plan in this environment today. So that's what we do. We have a very good track record in terms of profit performance and profits on trades. And we do it in really three steps. One is we teach you how to trade. We have trading rooms. We have chat rooms. We also have tools with these indicators on them that literally say buy and sell. We teach you how to interpret that. And then we also then actually feed you too. We give you trade signals every day. Yeah, just come to TradeLikeAGenius.com. You can get some really good deals we have running right now that we always do for you guys, Red. By Saturday, you can go chat with us, email. You can give us a call, TradeLikeAGenius.com. We pre-discounted bundles 65% off. And then if you just want to buy something individually, you can still use the Father's Day promo code and get 45% off anything in the store. I think you'll like what we do. We price things very, very cost effectively for people. We want people to learn how to make money, and we want people to learn how to make money in all markets. So thanks for letting me pitch that.
Yeah, no problem. And as always, the information is in the pinned comment in the description below. And before we get into the news, man, you sent me over some comments from some of your people there at Trade Genius, and it looked like you guys made like an incredible return on some stuff this past week. Can you explain that to us? I'm going to put them below for us.
Yeah, so we had one person that had been with us trading just 30, 45 days. 91% of her trades have been a winner. She's fairly new, just following the system and making money. And then I was joking with you before the show started. I said the theme going into next month is going to be weeds and tankers. Is that there's too much oil out there again, and when they have too much oil out there, they have to store it because they can't push it through to refineries, and then the tanker rates go up, and then you start making money in tankers. We had one yesterday that within an hour people made 15 to 20% on a trade. And then we went ahead and we bought some Aurora calls on Monday, which is a cannabis company, and we made 50% in that over the course of a day too. And those trades are just beginning, so we're going to start seeing more of those trades. I have people that I know in my trading world that actually are wholesalers for in the pharmaceutical cannabis industry. They're sold out. And I think more and more states are coming forward with legalization. There's a lot of people that aren't working, but they have a lot of money from the federal largesse. And yeah. I think they're not driving, so it helps tanker stocks, and they're smoking, which helps weed stocks. So I'll start looking to see if we start getting pizza stocks. But anyway, these are good sectors, and you can make a lot of money on them. And we find these just because they're popping up on our filters, and then we share them with people. So yeah, thanks for bringing that up. It was pretty funny. I just laughed. I said, what theme can we talk about today? I know people don't all like, the marijuana stocks or things like that. Our view of Trade Genius is that if it's legal
Hmm.
and it's trading, then we're going to put it out there for our subscribers. You could choose not to trade it, but looks like those two are going to be some pretty easy money here over the next 90 days.
Well, that's pretty sweet. I mean, it is kind of a strange thought to have, you know? I mean, people smoking weed is one thing, and then, it being legal is another, but thinking about entire companies that are based on it and selling stocks in that company. How many companies are there that are listed as pharmaceutical marijuana companies?
I don't know the exact number, but I follow like about five of them, and they're on my watch list. And when they pop up, I go ahead and chase them. A lot of them are Canadian companies, but the United States is diving into it pretty heavily. And it's not just that. I know I have customers that actually are hemp farmers, so which is it's not a drug, and there's CBD oil companies that are not a drug, and so there's a lot of derivatives around this marijuana industry that's going to be I would say beneficial.
Hmm.
And so you're going to see more and more of those type of companies going public and offering those type of services. But yeah, so there's going to be a lot of trading there, and then the thing about the weed stocks is that once they start moving, you'll get a lot of young people that'll push it. For a while there, it was really interesting, because we follow the cryptocurrency trading too. Is that it would either be the cryptocurrencies were running or the weed stocks were running. It all depends on where the kids were trading, and there's enough momentum behind some of these things that they'll push them. So when they were a couple of years ago, when cryptos were really struggling for a while, and is that the kids moved over to the weed stocks, and then the crypto started to come back. You can see the weed stocks get put on a shelf, and they start buying the crypto stocks again. So we see all that activity, and we just kind of direct people either way, and sliding to cryptos is the altcoins have been doing fantastic, and we follow those, and then they're going to be put on the shelf probably for the rest of summer, and then you're going to see Bitcoin start making this move again. And then the other thing we did that's really cool, we just launched an indicator that there's a stock out there called GBTC, which is it trades like a stock, but it's cryptocurrency related, that we can tell you when it's running at a discount or a premium to Bitcoin. And this indicator that we created puts you into the GBTC at when it's value priced, so you can make money on it. So we've had some really good success trading GBTC. Our clients get that signal as part of being part of our service, and that's the kind of value you buy. That you get that signal alone, it's probably worth 10 times what you pay a year for our service.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I believe me, I've been thinking about this as a product for a long time, because I've never gotten into the market. Even as long as we've been talking to each other, I've still always felt uncomfortable getting into the market, because, I felt like I don't have the money that I, should, that I'm going to have to expend in the market. I mean, like, what happens if, something goes wrong? But I mean, you've basically made like a foolproof method. I mean, people don't have to tell you like what they want to follow. Like, you're telling them, what is important, essentially.
Yeah. So So back to my earlier, my monologue there is that first of all, what we do is we teach you how the system works, so that you have a good foundation on how it works. It's not hard. You just kind of learn the lingo and learn the exceptions. There's nothing's 100%, so you got to understand the exceptions. And then once you do that, we like to, in my case, I'm looking for, like I said, I'm focused now on these couple sectors, because I think that's where the money's moving in. So I'll be dishing out trades in that area. So the first thing you do is you set a stop to make sure if I'm wrong or you're wrong, you only lose a little bit of money and you move on to the next trade.
Mm-hmm.
And then you set a target so that you don't get greedy. A lot of times these stocks will move up, hit your target, and then they'll come back down before they make their next move. You want to take that profit. You don't want to wait for it to come back down.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to look for the next opportunity. So, so the system is robust in that standpoint. And also you're in the trading room, like you and I are talking. We have chat rooms, and we actually have a talking room too, for people that pay a little bit more. They can join a room where they can actually interact like you and I are talking all day long. And then people give input. Like somebody today was talking about a trade. He wasn't handling the trade very well, and he said, I got to make my money back. And we're like, whoa, you don't do that. That's called revenge trading. So you wanted to take a step back, find out what you're not doing right, and then step back into it again. So there's a lot of good coaching that way to help people understand, because most of the trading's right here. You can have all the right tools, you can have all the right coaching, but if you have bad habits, we can help coach you out of those bad habits too, because there's that involved with it too. And the less mistakes you make, the more money you're going to make over time. And then you and I were talking, say, hey, I'm just getting into it. There's ways to do these things safely too, Red. So in which terms, like, you can buy stocks and you can protect them and things like that. And that way you make money, and they're built-in hedges. So there's really a market for everybody's personality type.
All right. Now, how is the market different today compared to how it used to be? Because, it's my understanding that basically the movement of the market is being controlled by, artificial intelligence. It's not people putting in orders so much as much now as it is just a computer making trades based upon these kind of indicators that you guys are using on a personal level.
Yeah. So, and we joke about that all the time. It's less of a two-way market now, because a lot of it's mathematically driven, and there's only so much math involved here. So, you can have 20 of the smartest people writing 20 code, and those codes will all probably align, even if nobody ever seen each other's code. So, there might be some slight variances there. So what happens is it's kind of like a wave, right? So, you have this wave going, and then when all these algorithms start to align, you get these big moves, and they're remorseless. So which means is that they don't get scared. They have a target, and they'll drive to the target, even though you sit there and say, that's so irrational. Why is it doing what it's doing? It's only irrational to us because we have normal emotions. That algorithm is basically has a target involved in it, unless some other mathematical input comes and tells it different information. It's going to go for those targets. So you adjust the trading based on the mathematical construct. So you'll see more Fibonacci type trading. You'll see more trading towards what's called low volume areas and high volume areas, and you'll see trading more towards, like, they call it pivots and things like that. It really, when you look at it from a mathematical standpoint, it's elegant. If you look at it from a rationality standpoint, it's absolutely crazy. And then it's not so much the algos that are involved there, because sometimes they compete with each other. Is that it's really the man behind the curtain that's really driving a lot of this stuff is with the Fed. The Fed is just putting what's called basically a hidden bid in the market. So in the past, you'll see, like today, the market was down. We're talking, they maybe just going up tomorrow, but today's Wednesday, the market was down today. And so a lot of times, if you get what's called a trend day, this market could have just kept falling. But at some point, the Fed will step in and they'll start buying the market back, even though it's overvalued, and they could change the algos' minds. The algos are getting new information now, and that will drive it up. In the past, if it was a sale day like that, the market could have fell 5%, even though it fell 2.5% today. When we looked at it, it was extremely orderly. So we know it was big money selling, and then at some point, like that, a switch was changed, and the market started going up the rest of the day. That's how we know there's machines and Fed involved, and you don't fight it. That's the other thing too. You can't fight these trends, or as an old trader told me when I first started, you could be right or you could be rich. so
I'd rather be rich.
You got to recognize the environment that you're in. So that's the big difference today. And then, like I said, look, I think what's happening here, Red, is that they can't let the market crash. Okay, if it crashes, it's because something's beyond their control. They have all these pension funds. They have to get funded. So they're going to, over the next 8 to 10 years, they're going to do whatever they possibly can to push all these corporate and state and local and federal pension funds, all these baby boomers, till the demographics change. They got to push them off the mortal earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they're going to try to flood the system with that money so those people can retire, because if it doesn't happen, this market could be down 60-70%, and then we got 1929 all over again, and I don't think the country will survive it. So even though how much we may hate the Fed,
Mm-hmm.
and we may hate what the government's going to do, it's one of those things where take your medicine, we may not survive it. So
Yeah.
we're going to be stuck with some other things that are going to be coming out from that, but it won't be a stock market crash. It just could be some really nasty inflation.
All right. Well, a couple of things that happened today that I wanted to ask you about. The Pentagon put out a list of 20 Chinese companies today that it believes, or I guess it proves, are owned by the Chinese Communist Party. Do you know what kind of an impact that's going to have? I mean, it seems like China is basically, they have the market cornered on electronics and a lot of the parts in things, that we use on a daily basis. So if suddenly the Pentagon and the United States government says, because this is a Chinese company that's owned by the Chinese government, we can no longer source from them or we can't use them. I mean, is that going to help the market or is that going to hurt it? Because in a way, I would think it would help innovation here in America. But then obviously in the short term, I think it would cause a little bit of a shock to the system.
Yeah, I think you answered your own question there. I totally agree with that. Yeah, the host is very good, but yeah, you're exactly right. The stock market is going to be Mox Nix, but this is medicine that we should take and will take. And the pain will probably be less than we think. Look, there's going to be I think there's a strategic decoupling being put in play here. Where you ever hear of the Five Eyes companies?
Oh, well, I mean, I know Five Eyes, like spying and stuff.
Yeah, so we call them the Five Eyes because they're basically the English speaking world, right? And then you can add India to that and Israel to that, and maybe another country here and there, maybe Mexico. That's going to be the new trading bloc.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think you'll find, we have 3 or 4 of the most innovative countries in the world in that group, right? Israel, England, United States, extremely innovative, cutting edge technologies. Anything that's going to cause us issues is going to be short term in duration. It won't affect our military at all. And you have Japan in there too. So Japan will be part of that trading bloc too. So, that's where all the innovation in the world comes from. You got the Japanese are innovators, the United States are innovators, Israel's innovators, Great Britain's innovators. I'm not saying other countries are not, but these guys, they stand out. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to see the jobs being pushed back in the United States. And it's not just going to be these innovation companies. It's going to be every strategic industry out there. We'll let the Chinese sell to us non-critical stuff. Mm-hmm. But then again, you got India and you got Vietnam that be happy to pick up that slack too. So I think you're going to see an alignment out there that I think the Chinese really screwed up strategically. They got their Belt and Road Initiative, but they're not going to have the best countries as part of it. And I think continental Europe is probably going to wake up and probably wish they made some other decisions. But yeah, so I think it's look, I'm willing to take that pain.
Okay. I mean, I am too. I think overall it's going to be a good thing for the country. Now, the other thing was that Canada lost their AAA credit rating today. And I don't really know how big of an impact that's really going to have, because I feel like anybody who knows anything realizes that these credit ratings that countries are given are just garbage. They're arbitrary. I mean, there have been so many times where I've heard talk about here in the United States, we're going to lose our AAA rating. They would never do that, because then the country it would be in a really bad position and then nobody's getting paid. Okay. So they've got to keep everything in line. Now, what is this going to do to Canada? What kind of an effect is that going to have?
Yeah, so for the United States, we can get a triple F rating, and we can say who cares, mm-hmm. Because we could fund everything that we need, in terms of employment, food, and energy. Now, Canada, the good side on that for Canada is that, they probably can produce enough food. They definitely can produce enough energy. So, probably in the short term, not that big of a deal. But they had a lot of their export markets are drying up, and the whole mercantile system is basically blowing up. You can't be a socialist country and not be mercantilistic.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think this is going to cause Canada some pain going forward, especially if this solar minimum stuff is the impact that we're hearing are going to be real. The Canadian grain markets can go offline. And the Canadian government's doing everything they can to make their energy markets go offline. So I don't know what those people are thinking, government. But yeah, I think they may have a come to Jesus moment where they're going to have to reinvigorate their economy. But I just think it's just going to maybe raise their borrowing costs, or it's going to make the Canadian dollar less attractive.
All right. What do you see happening here in the United States that we need to be paying better attention to? Because right now it feels like everybody's got their eyes on like the looting and the rioting, and of course the election coming up. But you can tell there's things happening behind the scenes. Like I said earlier, General Flynn had his case dropped today. That's a really good thing.
Yeah. So somebody else asked me that too, and they said, "Why aren't you as worried as I think you should be about things?" I said, "Well, 2 weeks ago, I was more worried than I was today." And if ironically, General Flynn was just the icing on the cake. I don't know if you've noticed, you probably did, is all these Hollywood actors and producers all of a sudden are being rolled up for rape charges and sexual assault charges that aren't last week's.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody got a list, somebody got evidence, somebody got something from somewhere. And I think maybe this whole Epstein thing might be bubbling to the surface. I mean, Steve Bing decided to take a swan dive off a 40-story building. I'm like, he was never even accused of really anything. What was he involved in? And another Hollywood producer turned himself in. 11 sexual assault charges. I mean, where's this stuff coming from? So I'm sitting there going, okay, Trump's a little too calm about all this stuff, and he keeps alluding to swamps and things like that. Flynn's off the hook. 200 circuit court judges now confirmed. These Hollywood people are getting rolled up, and I think maybe indictments are ready to roll. He's going to change the conversation, and so I think the reason why we're seeing all this anxious anger is probably they're trying to damage Trump beyond repair for November. But I think once again, the riots and the thing, I think they shot themselves in the head, in terms of. They overdid it, and now they lost control of their cities, and Trump's not overreacting to it. Whoever's advising him now is telling him, hey, like Napoleon said, you never interrupt an enemy when they're making a mistake.
Exactly.
And look, Seattle said, we got to shut this thing down. Portland said, we're not letting you start. And Trump says, if you do it in D.C., I'm throwing you all in jail. And so I just think maybe that's going to happen. My only worry at all is that if this mail-in voting thing is truly at unprecedented fraud levels, it may cause some issues. I personally think that the Democrats have scared every independent and every rational minority into the arms of Trump, even though they may not like the Republican Party. I think they fear the mob, and so I think from that standpoint he has it covered. The only thing that we got to worry about now is that we got to get this economy, kick-started again. A lot of jobs. One thing that the Achilles heel of the United States economy is that we have what's called a lot of jobs that aren't essential. Mm-hmm. Okay, what I mean by that is that at the end of the day, if you're doing a budget, massage parlors and Starbucks and tanning salons and things like that aren't on the high list, but we going out to the bar at $12 a drink. Mm-hmm. Those things are disposable, and that's where we lost a lot of jobs. A lot of them that pay pretty well. I don't think people realize how much money you can make in the food and beverage industry if you're working at a regular restaurant. Mm-hmm. And I think with what's happening with people staying home now is a lot of those jobs are gone. And I even put my daughter's job in it. She's an ice skating coach, and they may not open the rink again to public skating because they find out they can rent it out privately and make more profit than they were before. Mm. And so some of these jobs may not come back, or she'll be competing against people she didn't have to. There was a shortage of those people now. Now there might be a surplus. So I think we'd have to retool a whole set of people that aren't used to it. These are the people out now that are, they don't understand. I call them, this is like the Starbucks Modella economy, and it's these people are gonna end up having to work in factories again. And I think that's gonna be the big change that I don't know if we're gonna react to it very well. But other than that, jobs coming back are gonna be a good thing. And tech jobs, he cut off the H-1B visas, if you noticed.
That was great news.
That was huge. I think that's a crutch. I was in high tech before I did this, and we just shook our heads. They don't even try. It's indentured servitude. Mm-hmm. They can get people at 30 cents, 40 cents on the dollar. They can't quit. They could quit, but they have to go home. They can't get market pay. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of things that I think are good happening from that, but it's that generation. I would say those people from 20 to 40 years old that are in industries that may come back only at a certain percentage and may not be in the cities they're living. Look, people are bailing out of New York. Mm-hmm. I have a subscriber that has a home in Maine. He said Airbnb in Maine, if that was its own, everything sold out up there. Everybody bailing out of New York, they're bailing out of Boston, they're bailing out of Philly. Here in California, I went to Arizona. You were joking with me being so tan. I was out at the river, and I said, "What recession?" You couldn't even get on the river. It was like an ocean with all the waves from all the boats. Everybody from California said, "Yeah, you can lock down. We're going to Arizona," and companies are moving out of Seattle. So there's going to be a lot of transition that I think we have to fight through, and I think that's going to be the thing that I don't know how that's going to be solved yet. I'm excited because I think the United States is uniquely able to have migration and mobility. I just don't know how that transition is going to go.
Well, I myself am very excited about it. It's a brave new world, and I'm looking forward to seeing what we create in this new era. All right, Bob, as always, buddy, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks. It was fun today. Thanks for talking to me.
Good times, brother. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Hey guys, one more thing. I just want to say thank you to everybody who has supported the channel. If you're interested in doing more, there is always links in the description below. I have the merch store. Of course, I also have the backup channels. Please subscribe to those. If you take a look up here, you're going to see a couple of other videos. There's also a spot to subscribe if you have not subscribed yet. And if you are subscribed, I ask you to please check and make sure that you're still subscribed and your notifications are turned on. Thank you, everybody, for watching the program, and I will see you tomorrow.